There are a few things we should have to hand before installing results. Contact 1x1 technical support to obtain a license code to download and install Results for Research. If you don't already have one, contact 1x1 support to obtain a license code to activate the Advantage database server. You're now ready to download the Results for Research 7.2 installation files from the 1x1 website. In this video, I'm going to install Results on a Windows 2003 Service Pack 2 server. This server is running Internet Information Services version 6. It's running a website called Default Website. Now this is important because Results will attempt to add an application to a website called Default Website. There should be one installed by default. If there isn't, now is the time to add one. As well as attempting to add an application to the default website, Results will attempt to add user rights for the built-in Internet guest account, usually named iuser_machinename. If that account doesn't exist, and it should do by default, now is a good time to add that. Okay, we're also going to look at the properties on our local area network. We need to have a few things installed. We need client for Microsoft Networks, and we also need file and printer sharing for Microsoft Networks, as well as the Internet Protocol TCP/IP. If these are not installed, you should add them now. If you already have an installation of Results for Research on this machine, now is the time to back up your data. To do that, we're going to rename our C-inetpub scripts directory. We're also going to rename the www.root r4tn directory, the resstyles directory. We'll also rename the program files 1x1 results directory. And finally, to save our studies data, we'll rename the data drives studies directory. Results for Research version 7.2 uses entirely new system DLLs compiled to a higher level than previous versions. So, to ensure clean install, I'm going to uninstall any previous versions of Results I may have running on this server. And we're finally ready to actually begin the installation of Results for Research version 7.2. First thing we're going to do is to double click on the setup files. This is a self-extracting zip file. Click OK to extract the files to a temporary location, and we will click on Unzip to begin the process. The installation process itself should be straightforward enough. We'll begin with a warning telling us the next few screens contain some important information about this installation. You're requested to read them carefully. We are asked to log interviewers out of Results if we have previous installations. We know that we don't have any. We can click on that and we can continue. We're asked to back up any existing data. Now, we have previously renamed our scripts directory, our studies directory, our program files 1x1 results directory. You can read the information on the screen as you're running through the installation yourself. We click the button and go to Next. We're now asked about setting up IIS. There's a brief description about IIS requiring a website called Default Website. Now, we've already taken care of that. We're also asked about folder permissions, and Results will use the built-in Internet guest account called machinename/iuser_machinename. We've seen that account already exists, so we can continue. Finally, setting up the Advantage database server. We will require a license for this server, which we got at the beginning of the process. The Advantage server requires the client for Microsoft Networks and also the file and printer sharing for Microsoft Networks. We have those things in place. We already checked our local area network connection. When we're happy, we can click the options and move on to the next screen. We're asked to enter our company name as it appears on our results license agreement, and we'll enter in our serial number. We can click Next, and we can select the location for the result setup. See Program Files 1x1 Results is already selected for us, as is the Data Drive Studies directory. Now in Windows 2003, I'm afraid the installation has trouble finding the scripts directory, so we'll change the location to C, inetpub and scripts. The installation will then create that scripts directory for us. It's the default location, and it's the best place to put our CGI files. We know we have the www root, so we click on Next to continue. Now, Results for Research has found that the Advantage database server is not installed. We'll say yes to installing this by default. You'll see here the location of the installation files. If you already have Advantage, click No at this stage. And we're ready to begin. Let's click Install and allow the installing application to do its work. This is a very standard application. You've seen this plenty of times before. Okay, we're finally given the control panel. Before we finish, we need to add in a serial number that we are provided for the activation for the Advantage database server. Contact 1x1 support if you don't already have this. If you have Advantage already installed, don't go through this step. We'll see here that the installation application is telling us that it is now finished and results should be ready to use.